The book of Proverbs, verse 6. The mocker seeks wisdom and finds none, but knowledge comes easily to the discerning. Hi everybody, this is Philip from Christian Connoisseur. So the background footage is when I was playing Magic the Gathering Arena. So I built this elf deck. It's like a black-green elf deck. It seems like it does okay. It's kind of in a prototype right now. So there was two videos that I initially wanted to make for the channel. One was about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and the other one was the idea of stuff such as like purity and honor and stuff like sexual, something like that, like relationships and that kind of stuff. So I've been taking a break from the channel. I might slowly start coming back. I think the plan is that I'm not a YouTuber. I'm just like a guy who has a YouTube channel. I think that's a healthier mindset. Okay, so I'm just gonna talk for like a minute and then I'm gonna make the video. So I do think going forward, I would like to try to be a little more positive. I know sometimes it's impossible, but I feel like the internet is filled with so much negativity and so much anger and so much hatred all day and all night long that I don't really want to be that kind of a person going forward. So although it's impossible to always be positive, sometimes the truth is negative, but I would like to at least try to have more of an optimistic outlook. So that's something I want to work on, but we'll see what happens. Okay. So for today's video, why don't I talk a little bit about the idea of purity and honor, and just some of my personal thoughts about some relationships, about, as a man versus like, trying to interact with or being around like a woman and some stuff like that. Now, this isn't going to be like an explicit video or anything. It's just like a normal video. But okay, so I'll just give some of my thoughts about some of this stuff. So, I'm going to try to have some healthy boundaries and not talk excessively about my IRL stuff too much. But I'll give some of my thoughts. I'll also try to put a Christian perspective on it too. Okay, so I feel like when it comes to stuff like relationships and how one views, say, like a woman, for example, and that kind of stuff, these things are important. So some like advice I might give, or some different thoughts about some of this stuff. I think, for one thing, it's like, so I have a bunch of ideas. Okay, so like one thing is stuff like fantasizing and fictional characters about like women, for example, like even being online, for example, and that it can destroy your real life, situations by, let's just take a hypothetical example. I'm not sure the best way to say all this stuff. For example, say I was playing the video game Final Fantasy VII Remake, and there was some very attractive looking woman on there, for example, and it's like you have a character like Tifa, and she's very pretty, right? So say I fantasize or I fictionalize in my mind, me romantically being with her or something. She's like maybe I imagine she's like my girlfriend, or I think of some, like some spicy thoughts or something. Or some of these words I might want to mention probably aren't good for like being on the internet. You know, like I don't know, like we'll just say you probably know what I mean when I say something like, you know, like something like, you know, a man would want to do towards or with a woman, you know, imagines in his mind. Something more like, you know, like real spicy, right? That kind of stuff also on top of other things, on top of deeply lustful thoughts. So I feel like that is there's several more detrimental, dangerous pathways, I feel like, for a man. And the same could be true for a woman too, by the way. Like, that's a different scenario. This is more about men, but I mean, in theory, it's kind of the same both ways. First of all, like a character like Tifa, for example, she's not real. You know, I mean, she resembles a character. She resembles as a character a person who could be real, but she's not. So if you're fantasizing and, you know, enjoying a character online, that like it takes away, like, you know, you're like these dopamine receptors, and you're enjoying being with like her, or you're enjoying, you know, all those like sensual or spicy thoughts or whatever. But like none of those are ever gonna bring you about anything in the real world. I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with enjoying like a character and a story, but it's not gonna help you to arguably get a girlfriend, for example, or to go on a date with a girl in the real world. And it does you arguably a lot of harm enjoying yourself, you know, to like a tremendous level on that kind of stuff. Because like it's never gonna go anywhere, right? Because like she's a fictional fantasy character, right? So nothing's ever gonna happen. And say, for example, you took all... Okay, I'm not sure the best way to try to say what I'm trying to say always. But like say instead of like playing a video game like that, you know, you went out into the real world and you decided to enjoy yourself. Like you went out to like there's a ton of places. Sometimes I don't know where people's locations are, but you could go out to like the mall, for example, or like a bookstore. You can go to like a pizza place. You can go to a movie theater. You know, you could go to, I don't know, right? There's so many different places out there. You can go out. You could even go to like a game store. I mean, it's more like men. You could find, you know, like some kind of restaurant or a place where people might want to hang out at, or an athletic activity, or some kind of an event, right? And if you went out there, instead of like playing a game, you could find a chance to talk to or interact with or be around a woman. Oh yeah, another great place, like the church, right? As a Christian, you can go to church. There's plenty of women there too, right? Probably find a better woman in that church than you would elsewhere. But you could spend more time with women in the real world, which, you know, it's like something could happen from there. I'm not even saying that it would or that it will, but it could, right? It's possible. And like if you go out into like, you know, the world and you talk to people and you interact with people, you spend time going out places and you do things, something could happen and come about it, which could be a net positive. So versus a fantasy character in your mind, or even a fictionalized version of a potential relationship, is never gonna, no fruit is ever gonna come from that. But it is hypothetically possible that over the course of time and working on yourself or whatever, maybe you and a woman in the real world, something could happen. Who's to say, right? So that could be true. So I think this is just something I wanted to get out there, which could definitely help. And sometimes I feel like you got to think about the long term rather than just the short term. Like you want to play the long game, right? Playing the long game. I'm not sure my sound's like. My sound might be kind of bad here. Okay, but like being around I feel like putting yourself in situations where people of the opposite sex could be at, like if you're a man looking for a woman, you put yourself out there a little bit, it's possible that, something could happen. And even if it doesn't happen immediately, you could build up your confidence. You could work on yourself a bit more. Like you could just be in the same environment around women, for example, and you could kind of learn a little bit more about them. Try to, it's like slowly train and like discern your brain to just be around more people and just more diverse groups of people, which I definitely think would help a lot. Okay, so I feel like this is probably point number one, right? It's like being more in the real world around normal people versus trying to spend less time being around fictional fantasy versions in your mind of people that nothing's ever going to happen with. So it's kind of like I would make the argument it's like rerouting your brain to change your dispositions about things. So okay, so I feel like the next point that I would argue is this. Okay, so like say point number 2, right, is going to the whole idea of like rerouting your brain. The idea of words, I use the word like purity, for example. I would probably say it's more of like a biblical moral virtue, as like purity. And I feel like there is a lot of pros to this also. And I would also even say like the idea of like showing respect and honor towards women, and then seeking to objectify women less. And I would also make this argument that it definitely will help you as a man, just with women in general in life. It will all around be good for you. And none of these things are like guaranteed to do everything for you inherently by themselves, but they're definitely good for you as an individual, and they're good for like a man in like a relationships and stuff too. So it's like the idea of like objectifying women, for example. And I feel like that is like, it's like enjoying yourself, stuff like lustful, like being filled with lust, right? Towards women, for example, and wanting to desire and seek out like, these things for your own personal like self-gratification. So let's just be real for a second. That, generally speaking, nets a man absolutely nothing. Like, it's not going to increase your chances of being and getting a girl to be your girlfriend, right? As like an adult man finding an adult woman. It's like, it's not going to do you any favor. I mean, when has that ever really helped anyone? It really doesn't. And like I feel like all lust really does is it ultimately just decreases any chance of you having any kind of true meaningful relationship with a woman, for example, versus seeking more purity and like showing her respect will definitely do you a lot more favor. So there is truth to that. And I mean, I guess like, some other, like in some of these I do have some biblical perspective, but like it's mostly just some of my viewpoints on this stuff. But like, women are, they're daughters of God, and like men are supposed to be sons of God. And I would argue that also showing a woman respect, for example, she will also in kind, it's like basically called like reciprocatory, where people reciprocate certain aspects. Like you treat her with respect, in exchange she's going to treat you with respect back. And if you want to use her for your own personal benefit and gain, all that's really going to probably happen is she's going to try to do the same thing to you back. So like you're not going anywhere in the future by trying to use, her for your own personal, like, enjoyment or whatever, for like a very like twisted way. Like, it's not going to do you any good. And showing her a sense of honor, it's probably going to increase your chances, probably, to be honest, of her liking you more, and you're going to get further in your relationship with her, arguably, than doing that anyways. Some of these things, like, I feel like moral virtue, they take more time. But with, it's like you play the long game versus the short game. Like, the short game will get you something, but then it will leave you empty in the long term and you'll lose. But you play the long game, you sacrifice in the here and now, but you're going to be way better off in the long term. So it's like, respecting a woman, it's going to do you a lot of favor. Disrespecting her, like, it's not going to do you any good. So there is truth to this stuff, right? And like, so for me, some things that I've kind of worked on, and for one thing, I feel like, again, I'm going to go back to this other point I had, the idea of these like dopamine receptors in like a man's brain or something, is trying to like, purify and cleanse a bunch of this stuff on, especially on like the internet or being online or in your brain and stuff. It's like, one way is probably, to be honest, is to just stop looking at and stop talking to, or stop interacting so much, honestly, with like a lot of like women, or aspects of like women online that are like, that aren't real and they aren't going to go anywhere for you. I think this is also a good thing. This is probably a good decision overall. Like, again, like, you could watch a music video, right? There's like some pretty girl in the music video. Maybe you enjoy watching her, or you enjoy watching this video because you think she's attractive. But the thing is, like, it really, that hurts your dopamine receptors, right? Because you're enjoying your satisfaction with some woman like that, right? But she's arguably not real, or she's a partial version of reality. Like, you're never gonna get with her, right? So if you could watch a music video about that, you could honestly just stop watching it too. If you really like listening to music, maybe just find a music video from a man instead. And like, you're not gonna get any kind of like, spicy enjoyment. Like, that's a whole nother matter, right? Normally, you, as a normal man, as biological man who likes a woman, watching a man is gonna cause you almost nothing to happen, right? So it's like, you could cleanse a bunch of that stuff, and then you could try to like reroute, in your brain or whatever, all those types of thoughts or dopamine to a different, more real people, right? Things that you have a chance to actually succeed in the real world with. So I know this goes back to like one of my other points. So it's like, there is truth to this, right? Okay. So it's like, again, like, if you're respecting a woman, maybe it's like, again, like, maybe you try to enjoy yourself less with some of this other stuff. It might do you some favor. So what other point could I make? Okay, so I feel like maybe like a point 3. I feel like it could really come down to things like the idea of like one's relationship, and it's like, I feel like one good thing you could do is you could just try talking and like conversations with, and trying to develop like a real relationship with a woman, for example. And these things are definitely good. And again, like, sometimes you could just, you could try to talk to one, right? You could find a woman you find to be attractive, and tell you the truth. It doesn't necessarily matter whether anything's really gonna come about it, because it's like building up like your confidence and your skills and stuff. And So it's like you can have a conversation with her, and then also, again, like you could try to, like, maybe like, a waitress or at some place, a person who works at a place, a person who walking by, a person you might know in a hobby or whatever, and it's like you could try to ask her a couple. You could ask her, like, you could walk up to a woman and say, like, or whoever it might be, right? You could be like, hi, how's it going? Or you could you could greet her. You could ask her how her day's going. You could just be like a normal, friendly guy, and I feel like that's definitely gonna do you a lot of favors, that is, right? So, and then, like, you could ask her some questions about herself, and like some things I've learned is like you don't want to just make it like boring, and you don't want to just like interrogate a woman, right? Like, you want to be like fun, and you want to be interesting, and you want to have a conversation maybe that's a little bit more engaging, right? Like, sometimes you want to bring like a positive, like a good energy and good vibes, and you want to be someone a little bit interesting, right? And, like, you want to be someone that she's potentially interested in hanging out with. But as if you have a chance, then, right? And at least you could, if you talk to her, maybe she shares a similar interest to you, or there's something interesting about her. I mean, maybe it's like, maybe she's good looking, right? But it's like, sometimes there has to be more than just looks too. Obviously it's important, but, and again, like, if you ask her some questions, maybe you learn something, right? And if you keep engaging with a woman in a conversation, maybe it's only for like a 30 seconds to a minute, or maybe it's like, maybe you're a little bit shy, or you don't really know what you're doing yet. But if you keep talking to her and having a conversation, then you might have access to seeing her or talking to her again. And like, people like to do what's comfortable and what's familiar, right? And maybe you and her hit it off, you talk a little bit, maybe it's like, maybe you try your chances, right? Like, tell you the truth, like, there's a good chance you're gonna fail and it's not gonna work out. Maybe you could ask her if maybe she wants to hang out with you, or maybe you can be like, hey, you want to go out with me or something, or you maybe try to get her phone number and you just want to hang out, and like, or maybe you wait a couple weeks or something, or you stop by that bookstore or something, right? Or whoever it might be, or wherever it might be. Different people got different things. You could, who's to say, right? And maybe she'll go out with you. I think a lot of women, if you're a normal guy and you're not creepy about it, to tell you the truth, she probably will at least give you a chance. If she's single and you kind of hit it off, like, she'd probably go on a single date with you. I mean, you might not get more opportunities than that, but who's to say, right? So, and like, again, the more you keep talking, it's like, if you're able to have some kind of a basic conversation with the girl and you're not super creepy, you could have another chance for another conversation with her, which could lead to more opportunities. And the more, I feel like, the more that a woman would see you every day, or just the more people in general, they kind of know you, right? And they, like, say for example, you went out to I don't know, some fun entertainment thing, right? People are going to see your face and they're going to hear your name. It's like, they hear your name, maybe they smell you, they know something about you, and then you learn some stuff about them and you have conversations. It'll become a more normal thing. And I feel like the same thing with women. And like, it'll become less daunting for her and for you if you keep interacting, or you keep going out to certain places every week or every month or whatever it might be, right? And then, like, once you become more assimilated into like a little society or the group, it's like, And like you have a good chance to maybe potentially get in a relationship, right? Who's to say? And obviously I feel like for stuff like relationships, I mean there's a lot of stuff that goes into this stuff, right? But it's like, again, like, you could work on your appearance. That could help you a lot with getting a relationship, maybe. Obviously as a Christian, right? Like, it's like you put your faith in God. And like, even God, I mean, he created man not to be alone. So it's like there's a lot of wisdom to having a woman. And like, women do want a man too also, right? And there's a lot of truth to that. And it's like a completely normal thing, by the way, too, for like a man and a woman to be together. But so like, what are some things that person could do to work on some of this stuff? I feel like, again, like, you could take care of your appearance. So some things I feel like from a man. This video is gonna run out here soon. This mono white deck, I really respect. Now I'm pretty sure I lost this fight, right? I really like this mono white deck. It was such a control-y deck, but it beat me. It has an answer for everything. Okay, I don't run enough artifact and enchantment removal. I probably need to put a little more in it. Okay, so what are some things as a man I feel like you could do to help yourself in life when it comes to some relationships? Now, obviously, there's just some like basic principles or basic advice. I'm not like a relationship guru or something, right? But some things you could do. Honestly, I feel like basic hygiene is a huge positive. It's like sometimes like you can remove the negative things and increase some positive things. Like, honestly, taking a shower and like heavy scrubbing yourself down with soap and shampoo or whatever, right? And like just get yourself clean and remove all the bad filth and smell good and nice, right? That's a really big thing I feel like when it comes to women. Honestly, the way you smell is important, like, because women are very emotional. I feel like also when you take a heavy clean shower, right? Also put on some fresh clothes. And like you can not have the bad smell, which it's like having a debuff. You could just remove all the negative debuffs inherently, and then like smelling good. Honestly, I feel like it's like a positive buff, right? Which definitely helps. And then like working on like maybe you could shave, comb your hair, right? This video's over. I tell you, I'm just gonna restart it back for right now. I don't have a second one made. It's fine. And it's like some things I've learned, like you can wash your face, right? Sometimes I take some water and from like a faucet or something. I just kind of wash my face off with some water. Maybe wash some of my ears or behind my ears, my chin or something. I can take a little bit of some soap on my fingers and just kind of wash and rinse my face off, and then take some water, and kind of rinse off the, the stuff. If you do that daily, it's like also it builds up your confidence. It makes you look nice, and like sometimes they have a little small shine, and makes you feel good about yourself. And it definitely helps you too, right? Or like these little things, like building up your confidence. I think that's definitely something that helps. At least it's something for myself. Like you can look in the mirror. You could have a smile on your face when you're looking in a mirror, and put your thumbs up and think to yourself some kind of confident thoughts. Or you can tell yourself like I'm handsome, right? Or it's like having some positive affirmational thoughts. And like these little things, they definitely help. And like also that comes down to the idea I think I mentioned earlier about the idea of like vibes and like or energy. Like women pick up on energy, they pick up on your vibes. So if you come into a place and you're all depressed and your head's down, and you won't even look at her or talk to her or anything about it, she's gonna pick up on these massively negative vibes, which you're gonna have zero chance ever. You tell yourself, I can never get her, nothing's ever gonna happen, all this bad stuff. Tell you the truth, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah, you're never gonna get anything with her. There's a chance no matter what you do, you might not ever have a chance, right? But if you have a positive attitude and you tell yourself in your mind that, like, you know, like, woman like me, like this phrase is like, you know, like, I'm the prize in dating. And it's like, you tell yourself, you know, like, you know, that you have just as much of a chance as any other guy, or, you know, it's like, you know, I'm able to succeed in dating, or I can win, I can achieve, you know, I can get those things too, or whatever it might be. Also, it's like also working on like some personal sense of self-respect, and like there's like this healthy sense of pride. Like you have the ego, right? You know, being humble. Like you don't have to be like, you don't want to be like prideful, but like there's a healthy sense of self-value and worth. And like in all these little things you can do every day, they help a lot. Again, like, you know, like combing your hair or washing your face, you know, and like, you know, saying something nice in the mirror. It could be, you know, it's like working out more. Working out might make you feel stronger or better about yourself. And like, you know, it's like just taking care of yourself, like making your bed in the morning, or washing you have a car, right? Like you rinse off you go through like the car wash with your car or something, or, you know, you have like a bag and like, you clean it out, or you make it look nice. You make yourself feel and look good about yourself. That gives you a sense of self-respect and like a good, healthy sense of value. And I also feel like women do see this kind of stuff, right? Even if it's not directly, like they see, like, no, it builds up your confidence and it builds up your sense of self-respect. And like no woman that you would want to date is going to, well, it's like, you know, she would take care of herself, right? And you would respect her for, you know, she wears nice looking clothes, she puts on her makeup, she does a lot of stuff to make herself look and feel good. And men will be interested in a woman because she's attractive. And the reasons that she's attractive is because she's probably in good shape, because she works out and she eats good, and she does a lot of stuff for her appearance, and she works on a bunch of the stuff. Therefore, men would like her and be interested in her, and she's not going to just date any guy she sees. And she has also, it's like, you know, she has a life, right? And she's doing something. Maybe she works a job, or she has some friends she hangs out with, or whatever it might be, or she has a skill, or there's a personality quality about her, and you like those things about her. And I feel like the same is true as a man. It's like, you know, you're working a job, every day you work, or you're taking care of yourself, or you're hanging out with some friends every week, you have a hobby. You know, maybe you put yourself out in a social situation more, and it's like, I think women do see those things, and maybe, you know, maybe you're not interested in just dating any girl you see either. Which, I mean, it makes you look, in my opinion, you know, like you have value, right? You don't have to date any girl you see, but like you are interested maybe in dating a woman too. Okay, so maybe these are just some tips, or just some stuff I learned about when it comes to some basic relationships. And like, I mean, I'm working on this stuff in my own life too, right? So, and sometimes, I mean, to me, in my opinion, oh yeah, and also some other things, it's like, you don't have to spend all day on social media and just only playing video games and all this stuff too. Because like, you're never going to get in a relationship with a woman if you just spend all day playing video games and just watching YouTube videos. A little ironic. I mean, I make a video, right? Or you only go to your little nerd hobby shop and you only talk to a few of your only, like, you know, nerd friends playing your little trading card game or Dungeons and Dragons, right? Like, you have no chance of ever getting with a woman. I'm not saying you should do things that you like, but maybe put yourself out there a little bit too. Go somewhere where normal people will be at, and then just maybe try building up some friends with some new groups. Or put yourself out there a little bit more. It would help. I mean, maybe it wouldn't do it for you inherently, but it could help a lot. Okay, so yes, these are just some of my thoughts, right? Okay, I don't know how frequently I'm going to make videos or not. I mean, at some point, I want to make a video about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And then I'm going to think about what I want to do from there with the channel. Okay, so I'll just give some of my, like, ending thoughts here. So, okay, let's start. Let's just do the ending with like a positive affirmational thoughts. You know, you got a positive thinking in your mind. All right, you know, like, I can succeed at relationships and dating. if it's within God's will, I can succeed. I will succeed. And like, women are gonna like me. I'm handsome. I have self-respect. Like, I can and I will succeed. I am able to do everything anyone else can do. And with God's help, I could potentially even do more. I'm the prize in dating. All right, so that's maybe it's like a bit of a positive affirmation. Or sometimes I might say something like to myself, like, like, I'm confident. Sometimes what I do, now this is a little bit unorthodox, right? Like I might imagine like a little spiritual cross kind of up in the air. I'm gonna draw with my fingers or something, and like I'll say something like like confidence. I probably say words like positivity or like positive thoughts, or maybe I'm gonna zone out or block some of these negative things. And it's like something like, there's nothing wrong with praying to God either. It's like, if you want, like, sometimes you got to build up your confidence a bit, right? So it's like, and there is anxiety and there is fear, and like, you could get rejected or something could happen. But also, the truth be told, you could also succeed too. That'd be phenomenal, right? So it's like, sometimes you gotta sometimes you gotta just you gotta pep yourself up a little bit too. Sometimes in your mind you gotta be thinking positive things, and you could tell yourself like I'm confident. And like, you constantly telling yourself you're confident all day, and you're talking to people. Maybe you walk up to some, I'm probably using an example like a bookstore, right? It's like, this is just an easy normal. It's a very normal place. Tons of normal people go there, right? Tons of weird people go there, but tons of normal people too. You could walk up to some person who works there, and you could just ask. You could ask a guy there. You could just ask some random girl there. Just say hi to her, or him, or her, or even better, at her, right? Maybe she's at least moderately attractive. I mean, who's to say? Maybe she's married. But you could walk up to some person, ask them, if they can help you find something or something. It's like, also, if you're in your mind, you're thinking positive thoughts, and you have confidence, and you're thinking you have a chance to succeed or whatever. Who's to say, right? Okay. So I'm gonna probably end this here soon in a second. I know I don't have a big backlog of footage. Also, I've been playing Elden Ring, so I might move some Elden Ring footage. I don't know if and when I'm really gonna be coming back. I might just kind of like casually make some videos every once in a while, because I like the mentality of, I'm just some guy who makes videos every once in a while. That I'm not a YouTuber, right? Like, I don't play the YouTube game. I'm just it's like, I don't really do this for money. I just do this for fun, right? It's a little hobby I have. And sometimes I enjoy connecting with the community and stuff too. So, okay, so I want to make a video on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I might see if there's like a new anime or like a new TV show or there's a new movie. There's every once in a while, like, I go see a movie or something. I might make a video of just giving some of my thoughts about some stuff. Now, this one's a little bit different than like I normally always make, but I've been thinking about some of this stuff. I just wanted to talk about it. So it's like, I watched this movie. I think it's called the Lost Lands. I think it's like George Martin helped inspire it. So maybe I'll make a video on that. I don't know for sure. I've been kind of playing Elden Ring. I mean, I don't have a ton of free time, and I mean, there's so much other stuff I can do too. But I'm playing some Elden Ring. I might make a video on Elden Ring. And I haven't really played Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 yet. I've watched a bunch of footage. Maybe I'll wait for a sale. It's kind of like, it's like a sequel to the first game. It doesn't like, it's kind of just the same game, just kind of pumped up a little bit with a new story. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a little bit tweaked, a little bit upgraded and enhanced. I mean, Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 is one of my favorite video games. So like, the second one is going to be awesome in my opinion. Now, I haven't really gotten through the story yet, but I know enough about the game that I could make a video on it. At some point, I want to buy it, but I'll wait for a sale at this point, right? I mean, I'm going to this GameStop. Maybe I'll buy it from there instead of buying it online. That costs me a little bit more money, but like again, it gives me an excuse to go hang out with some people, right? I like talking to some of the cashiers. I can shoot a little conversation up with them and talk to them about it. Talk the crap or whatever. But I like doing that stuff, right? In this video, what's the video, 40 minutes long? I mean, I love talking, right? I'm more charismatic. So I bought this book. I might have to watch. I might have to try it online. It's called Vinland Saga. So there's some Christian themes and some Viking themes. Maybe I'll make a video about that. And like there might be a handful of some other stuff I want to make some videos on, right? So, but I don't know when and if I'm gonna make all this stuff, and maybe I'll never make it on all these. But okay. Thanks for watching this video. I appreciate it. And oh yeah, again, like the whole idea is, I feel like the whole idea is respecting yourself and respecting women, and viewing yourself and viewing women as human. And that's like, showing honor and respect, and also having purity too. Like purity is a good thing. And like, there's nothing wrong with enjoying, like a woman's pretty, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But like, also it's like seeing a woman as more value than just her looks or just shallow things, right? Like finding more value in things other than just extremely shallow only. Okay. Let me know what your thoughts are on this video in the comment section below. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it. Me having some humility, right? Now, I haven't made a video in months. I understand that some people probably aren't happy about that. Honestly, like I've been detoxing from social media a bit. Also from like video games and a lot of I've been unhooking myself from the Matrix a bit. So I understand that some people aren't happy about that, but some people are going to be happy. But I'm humbled that anyone would even watch one of my videos. So I want to say thank you, right? And like, I don't want to play the YouTube game. I don't want to sit here and beg for subs and likes and all that stuff. It's just, if you want to like the channel, like it, put a like on a video. Don't put a like on a video, put a dislike. Subscribe, unsubscribe. Leave a comment. Whatever you want to do or don't want to do, right? You have your freedom. Do or don't do whatever you want to do. But I want to say thank you for watching the video if you got this far. I appreciate it. In holiness, glorify God. Through His Son and through His Holy Spirit. God is good. All right, thanks for watching. God is good.